The first question today is what is the top ERP in the USA for energy companies and manufacturing?
For energy and manufacturing, I would give two very different answers depending on whether you're talking about energy or manufacturing. Um, in manufacturing, I'll start there because it's a little bit easier, a little bit more broad. There are a ton of manufacturing systems available, especially because ERP systems were largely built for manufacturing. I mean, that's really where the ERP originated. If you think back to the 80s, and back in the 80s, companies were using something called MRP, and then MRP, which is material resource planning, which was really the way manufacturers were trying to tie together their procurement and their um, the actual shop floor manufacturing, the warehouse management, just trying to manage all their inventory and their finished products from start to finish. That's what MRP was really designed for back in the day. And then MRP evolved into ERP as we know it today. And then ERP sort of expanded outside of manufacturing into other areas. So the reason I give that quick lesson in history is because there are a ton of options available for manufacturers that are looking for an ERP system. You've got, the big three, which are SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and they all have a ton of manufacturing clients. But then, what's really interesting about the manufacturing space is you've got a lot of other options outside of the big three. You've got a lot of good tier two and tier three niche solutions. You've got, Epicor and Infor, Decom, Acumatica are just a few examples of some manufacturing focus systems. And then you've got, of course, NetSuite and other, smaller, lower tier systems, although NetSuite's not really a smaller, lower tier system, but they focus more on the small and mid market. So those are just a few examples of the types of systems available to manufacturers. And then if you go even beyond that, if you want to look for a specific solution that's specific to the type of manufacturing you do, then there's other options as well, in addition to the broader, bigger options that I just mentioned. So, for example, if you're a food manufacturer, there's a product out there called Just Food. I think they got acquired by someone recently, so they're part of Aptian, I believe it is, bought Just Food, which is a food manufacturing focused ERP system that's built on the Microsoft Dynamics platform. So that's one example. You've got Plex Systems, which does a lot with automotive, and I could go on and on. There's a lot of different systems out there that focus on different niches within manufacturing. So a lot of options out there for manufacturers. Energy, in my opinion, though, is a little bit more tricky. I think that's a harder industry to crack as it relates to ERP systems, because you have to, well, first of all, you have to recognize that it's highly unlikely that you're just going to implement one ERP system for an energy or a utility company. It just the needs they typically have are just so diverse and different in terms of asset management and mobile workforce management and things that manufacturers and other types of companies oftentimes don't have. So that's why you do see SAP, you see a lot of Oracle in the energy and utility space, but you also see companies like IFS, which has a strong focus on enterprise asset management. You also start to see some niche solutions like Maximo that is very common in the energy space. And then for gas and electric utilities, the companies that you and I, Darian, and others listening, the companies we pay our electric bill to or our gas bill to, those consumer facing companies that are the actual utilities, those companies oftentimes have a need for other non-ERP types of technologies that have to plug into an ERP system or bolt on. So things like GIS or geospatial technologies to track where all the meters and the lines and the substations and all the basically the infrastructure out in the field. They have technologies that specialize in tracking that sort of stuff. And then you've got outage management and workforce management, things that are fairly unique to utilities. I could go on and on, but those are just a few things to consider and a few examples of the types of systems that organizations might consider for manufacturing or energy.